everyone. Welcome back to our Cup of Wellbeing session. It's nice to have Becky with me today. Welcome, Becky. And Becky, you've been at home over this last year with had the children at home, haven't you? But also still working right through the whole lockdown situation. So yeah, you've been at home with and husband at home, I believe, and you have two children, ages 7 and 3. So would you like to just tell us a bit today about what that's been like, the challenges that they've been for you, and yeah, any things that you found helpful or which have been hard in this season?
Yeah, of course, Theresa. So yes, I have been working throughout the last year. I work in the NHS as a speech and language therapist, and the children that I work with have feeding and swallowing difficulties. So I've still needed to see many patients face to face throughout the last year. So I've been juggling, working and having the two girls at home. Caitlin's not been at school during the lockdown periods. Martha has been sort of in and out of nursery. So yes, it's been fun trying to juggle work with home learning. Dana, my husband, has also been at home for periods during the last year. He was furloughed when we went into the first lockdown, and then made redundant, worked for a short time, made redundant again, and then thankfully he's just started a new job. So that's been great having him at home, because he managed to take up quite a lot of the burden with homeschooling. But I think, as probably many parents have found, the joy of trying to juggle homeschooling and normal everyday life is quite challenging, and trying to be there for your child as a parent, but having to teach them as well can be hard, because we're not really designed to be their teachers. And obviously there's a lot of new skills that we've had to learn, so
Quite tough.
yeah, and I think probably for me, in many ways, being able to go out to work's been quite nice, because I have had a break and been able to be myself at work. So that's been a real positive. But I think one of the things that I've really found sort of over the last year is really the lack of time that I've had to myself. I think as a parent, as a mother, we're often really used to life being very full on and not having much time to ourselves. But I think that's just been even greater over the last year, with so much more time when we've had two children at home that would normally have been out at school and nursery. And a husband at home but has been busy looking for jobs. He's had limited time. So I think I've realised that I've needed to try and make time for myself. I think, especially during the first lockdown, I think I really realised that I was struggling, and that was partly because I didn't have any moments to myself. So I just found even just taking a quick walk around the block, or driving the car to Co-op to go and buy some food that we needed, has just been a release, because it's just been a few minutes on my own. And I think I think that's really sort of helped me just have those moments when I can just breathe and be myself for a few minutes without having to be something to anybody else, really.
It's important, isn't it? That you put yourself first sometimes. It's easy as a mum and a wife and everything else not to, but actually it is important. So that's
no, definitely. And I was having a conversation with a friend who is a coach. She works with families and helps them sort of get the balance of family life. And something she said to me I found quite helpful, and she said to me about remembering that every time I say yes to doing something, I'm saying no to something else. So every time I say yes to getting on top of all the housework means that I'm saying no to perhaps taking a moment to myself and sitting down and having a cup of tea, or no to having 10 minutes playing a game with the children or whatever. And actually I think I found that really helpful, and just in terms of actually thinking about me within the house, but also perhaps when I think about what I say yes to when other people ask me things, that actually, whenever I do say yes, there's something else that's that I'm saying no to make that time. So that's been quite helpful.
Sure, that's something perhaps other people, would, a piece of
Yeah,
advice that others would find helpful.
yeah,
Yeah.
no, definitely. I think another thing that I've just found I've really needed is just to really try and think of the positives at the end of each day. I know, especially this time in lockdown, especially at the beginning, obviously it seems a bit brighter now, as we know we're going into spring and restrictions being lifted, but I certainly found sort of during January, not really knowing where the next few months were going, I found it really hard to just get the balance of everything right. And I found it really helpful at the end of each day to just try and think of the positives, because I found I was just thinking of the negatives and the things that were tough and the things that were hard and that I was struggling with, and actually just jotting down a couple of positives from each day was just really helpful. And it just actually made me it's just made me realize actually how, of all the good things that are coming out of this time, as well as all the difficult things as well. So I'm still trying to do that when I remember. So
Yeah, that's another good thing. Yeah.
And I think as well, another reason I think lockdown's been hard for myself and for so many other people is just because of the lack of social interaction and just being with people, and I know I've really missed that, and I think it's just taking the time to, I found it really helpful just to take the time to do Zoom calls with friends. And I have to say it's been hard at times, because when I've been at work all day and or I've been working from home and I've been on a screen all day, actually it has felt quite an effort to then do a Zoom call or something in the evening. But actually the benefit of it, once I've done it, and just that quality time with friends, it's just really boosted me. So so I think it's definitely been something that I'm glad I sort of persevered through and just got on with.
Yeah, it's important, isn't it, keeping that contact with friends, and sometimes it is a bit of an effort. I know I've done that myself sometimes and then realized, plan it ahead, Theresa. But it does help, doesn't it, I think, to have those get-togethers.
No, definitely. And when I was thinking about this, I was thinking as well, it's and I'm sure many other mums are finding this at the moment, when we think about sort of the lack of time we have, I think one thing that I found really difficult is actually finding that time to spend with God as well. Trying to find a decent amount of time with God has been really tough over the last year, and I I guess I've just found the need to actually, rather than spend a concentrated period of time, just kind of be praying as I go through the day. It's just turned into more of those short prayers throughout the day. And also there's so many great things on Facebook as well. I found quite a few Christian artists do worship sessions in the morning to start the day, so I might quite often turn on one of those in the morning, which is just quite a nice boost for the day. And have worship music on when I'm perhaps cooking, or just I think I've adapted some of the ways that I've needed to connect with God, just because the normal things that I perhaps would have done pre-lockdown and pre-COVID haven't been quite as easy. As they have been.
It's almost learning new skills, isn't it, and being flexible. Yes. So that's great that you've been able to do that, really, as you've gone along. So looking forward, how we're beginning to think about coming out of lockdown. So looking forward, and maybe the children going, Caitlin anyway, going back to school soon. How do you see that? Will you sort of try and prepare for that, or how do you think that's going to be?
I mean, Caitlin loves school, so she's very excited about the thought of going back to school, which is great. She has been in a bit of the time, as I'm a key worker and when Donal's been at work, but it's been a really different experience for her because she's not been with any of her friends. But I think I've certainly noticed that she's definitely more anxious about going out. I think things that perhaps she wouldn't have thought anything about before, she definitely questions more, and am I allowed to do this, and am I allowed to do that, and will that affect me, and definitely asking a lot of questions. So I think as much as she's looking forward to it, I think it will be strange for her, and for all our children it is going to be that kind of that change in routine again, isn't it? Getting used to that way of doing it again, and school not being quite as it was before, because there's so many more rules in place than there were before. So I tend to just sort of sit down and talk to Caitlin about it. She tends to just like to ask questions, and we just tend to talk it through and sort of manage these things as they arise, really, and sort of reassure her, and just kind of keep
talking, really, isn't it?
Exactly. I think in a lot of lockdown I've realised actually how key communication is. So I think I've realised with the children it's been really key in terms of them helping them to understand what all this is about and why they can't see grandparents and family and friends, and that real need to sort of be open and communicate and help them to understand it. But I've also noticed it just in home, in terms of my relationship with Donal, and the fact that we're been at home together so much, and there's been kind of pressures from the fact that we've had so much time together, and actually we just needed to be really open and talk about that and not bottle it up. So I think communication has been a really key factor over the last year. So
brilliant. It's been really great to talk to you, Becky, and I'm sure some of the things that you shared will be helpful for other people. But thank you for being so open and honest with us today. It's been great meeting with you. Thank you.